You've got something called or there's something called an OODA loop, which I think stands for observation, orientation, decision, action. And then I read some story about you that I thought was really interesting. And I don't know if it involves one of these loops, but I think you had been dropped into some unnamed country and had gotten some basics from the embassy, like a wad of cash, a mobile phone, and a handgun. And you're in a car and you find yourself in a situation with a lot of people angry surrounding your car. And you had to make some very important decisions, not obvious decisions, in order to get out of there alive. I was wondering if you could just talk about that and the decisions you make, because it's almost like a crazy puzzle, because you could have easily made some wrong decisions that would have felt right, that probably would have gotten you killed.
Yeah, no, it was probably one of the more, you know, as a SEAL, you're doing a lot of risky, crazy stuff, but you're trained for it, you rehearse it, you're doing it all the time, you're very confident with those skills, and then you go do it. This was everything was 100% out of my control, and it was Arab Spring, so there wasn't a major city in the Middle East that didn't have riots and social unrest going on. Obviously, it made national news for like every day for a month or months, you know. And I was working in one of those countries. And just like you said, you know, you land, you go check in with the embassy. They give you whatever you need, some creds and money and a phone and your gun, and that's just kind of to get you started. So you've got local cash and whatever else. Get in the vehicle, and a lot of like appreciation, right? We're so appreciative for gas stations being on every corner, and we don't have to go buy a SIM card, every whatever 100 minutes or whatever you buy, or having to recharge it or this or that. I mean, so many things you don't have to do here in the U.S. that just kind of come, they're just part of it, right? But not so much in other countries. So anyway, I get my literally Ziploc bag of toys, get in my car, turn it on. Of course, it's almost on empty, right? And then now I'm heading away from the embassy. It's a bunch of like, I'm stair stepping, right? It's left, right, left, right, left, right through different areas. And I take a right, and sure enough, there's, probably 1,000 angry people.
Thousand.
And
That's a lot. Jeez.
oh yeah, I mean, it was a lot, and they were coming from some direction and going somewhere, right? So this was a mobile protest of some sort. And so before you know it, I'm just surrounded, and I'm thinking, I'll just keep inching forward, and eventually I'll get to the other side of this thing. And but once they realize, like, hey, you look like a Westerner. And at the time, for some reason, they were all upset and emotionally charged. And well, they just didn't like me for that moment. So, once I was identified, now you've got everything concentrating on your vehicle. And they're banging on the windows, they're yelling and screaming in Arabic. And, before you know it, now my passenger side tires are coming off the ground, driver's side tires are coming off the ground, passenger side, driver's side, driver. So, I mean, this car is rocking. It's an SUV, and it's rocking off its tires back and forth. And I'm like, holy shit. Like, how am I going to deal with this? I'm thinking, okay, I got a pistol with 2 magazines, right? So that's 30 plus bullets, but that's about it, right? And so I could go through my 2 magazines, and still there would be hundreds, 1,000 plus people that would be even more upset. Then I'm thinking, Walking Dead. I can just floor it and run over some folks. Well, no, that'll kill some people. Then you'll be high-axled, where your tires are just spinning in the air and you're not going to get anywhere. And once again, they'll rip you apart. But I had a wad of cash. I got cash. I'm looking in the crowd, and I got lucky. There was a guy with an AK-47. It's like a soldier or law enforcement or something that was part of this. But he was looking at me with sympathetic eyes, right? And so I tell people all the time, look for the sympathetic eyes, because you never know. That could be the very person that saves your ass. And those sympathetic eyes, I went ahead and gave him the international sign of peace, right? Rubbing my fingers together, money, money, money. And his eyes got bigger. And he's like, yeah. And I said, okay, come in, come on, come over here. And so I'm waving him into my vehicle.
You're inviting a guy with an AK-47 into your vehicle. This is like one of these crazy mind game puzzles where it's like, what do you do? And you're choosing the option most people would never, ever, ever consider. But because of your awareness, you knew that was probably maybe your only way out, to invite a guy with an AK-47 in your car.
Yeah. No, it was a risk, but just the look on his face told me everything I needed to know. And so when he got to the passenger door, he put his back to it. He pointed that rifle. People backed away. That was long enough for him to open the door, get in, close it, lock doors. And then I told him, all right. And he pointed it at the windshield, and I was like, if you need to fire, feel free. It ain't going to bother me. Like, pull the trigger, man. I was saying, if you think you need to do this. And he's like, oh, no. We're speaking to each other with neither one of us are actually speaking each other's language, but we're speaking to each other loud and clear in that moment. Right. And so he points that gun at the windshield. People start moving. And then that gave me enough of a gap to get the speed going. Then nobody wants to, they'll jump on your hood when you're sitting still, but they don't want anything to do with you once you get rolling. Right. So, and the crazy part was, once again, I took a left, I took a right, took a left, boom. I was like, oh, there's a gas station. And then he was like, okay, masalama. And I was like, gave him his cash. And when he opened the door, I could hear the birds. I could hear the pumps on the gas station. I could hear people talking. And there was zero chaos. It was just, it's one of those moments when you're like, danger is always like 2 blocks away. You're just never going to know about it. It's always just 2 blocks away, but you'll never see it, hear it, unless you go and experience it, right? So, but yeah, it worked out, and a lot of lessons learned, right? Make sure you always have a full tank of gas before you get out and do anything. Make sure you've got plenty of minutes on your cell phone. That was the thing I forgot. Like, I was going to call for help, but the phone, they didn't give me SIM cards. It hadn't been plugged in. It wasn't charged, right? So make sure you always have a full battery. Make sure you have a way of recharging it with you. Make sure if you do live in a country that, you have to recharge your minutes and pay as you go. Make sure you're doing that, right? Stay on top of especially communication. You're going to want a lifeline. You're going to want to be able to call for help. So you're going to want the gas to get yourself out of trouble. And definitely, we have a saying in the SEAL teams that some of the old guys, Vietnam era guys, used to say, like, when you talk about E&E kits, that's your escape and evasion kit, right? It's these little kits you can hide on your body that, has shims in it, handcuff keys and all these things, a little itty bitty compass, maybe even a very small miniaturized map of the area you're in. And it just allows you to gives you enough tools to just escape and evade and hopefully move on to safety. But one of the guys used to talk, all I need is a wad of cash and my pistol, because what I can't buy with one, I can buy with the other. Right. So if you need to get anything, a gun and cash usually is a pretty good minimum E&E kit.
Right. And make no mistake, like a crowd like that will rip you limb from limb. Right. I mean, and sometimes the more numbers can be dangerous because then they have a mob mentality. Right. Like they act as one without consequences. Right.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we hear the term like, panic is contagious, right? One person starts to freak out, everybody will. It's different. I mean, all you need, everything is contagious, right? So violence is contagious, happiness is contagious, calmness is contagious, right? If you have a calm voice leading a pack, then everybody will stay calm. But if you've got somebody angry, everyone's going to get angry. And that crowd was certainly angry. I mean, they were burning that city to the ground while I was there. So,
hey, do you want to profit from crypto? Then join my DeFi Academy. The Crypto DeFi Academy will help you create generational wealth. But don't take my word for it. Listen to my students.
When I first got into crypto, I remember thinking to myself, I need to learn more. Brian Rose, learning crypto, learning DeFi, got to do it.
I am so grateful that I jumped in and did this. I had to break through some limiting beliefs that I can do this, that I can afford this, that I can be in this.
It challenges the things that are deeply rooted within us.
Joining DeFi Academy has been one of the best decisions I have made on my blockchain journey.
This course was a life changer, a game changer, a huge eye-opener, coming from knowing practically nothing at the speed of the learning over 4 weeks was just fantastic.
The information you provided in this class was invaluable.
I feel far more confident in my next steps.
You took complex concepts and made them easier to understand.
What's different than so many other ones is it just doesn't tell you what to do. It actually makes you do it.
This is for people who are serious about becoming traders. This is the way it should be done.
I realized from this learning experience again that it is not about what you learn, but about who you learn it from.
The energy was insane. I've never experienced such incredible energy on a live call. Brian Rose, you are a legend, my friend.
It's the only thing in the market where you can get all information and learn everything what you need to know.
Everything is so clear and so well done, and I'm just forever grateful for this program.
It made me feel so much more confident about crypto than I did before.
I did not anticipate how passionate I was going to become about it.
It's also been like a big learning experience for me, not just in the crypto space, but just an overall balance of life.
What I've learned is, how to take ownership, of my life in a way that I really hadn't before.
Yeah, you can't put a price on that, really.
I would recommend it to anybody, top notch.
Excellence does not come cheap. So if you want excellence, you gotta pay for it, but it's so worth it.
Pull the trigger. That's what this course is about.
You're not going to regret it, really. It's amazing.
Thank you, Brian and team.
So what are you waiting for? Crypto is happening now. Click the link below, submit your application, and let me mentor you on how to create generational wealth and build the decentralized financial infrastructure of the future.